This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thank you for joining us for CBN NewsWatch on this Friday, the 23rd of January. I'm Ephraim Graham. We're going to begin this half hour with news in the Middle East, where the United States has assembled a massive military presence in that area. As Chris Mitchell now reports, it could signal the anticipated strike by President Donald Trump against the Iranian regime.
President Trump told reporters he's watching Iran closely.
You know, we have a lot of ships going that direction, just in case. We have a big flotilla going in that direction, and we'll see what happens. It's a big force. We have a big force going toward Iran. I'd rather not see anything happen, but we're watching them very closely.
Trump said the regime canceled more than 800 executions on Thursday, but Iran's top prosecutor denied that. And reports inside Iran say Iranian forces continue to kill their own citizens, even in hospitals.
They go into hospitals, they kill these people on the hospital beds, they kill the nurses and doctors that are operating and assisting these protesters. These are crimes against humanity.
The UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in Iran says the death toll may exceed 20,000. The spokesman for Iran's armed forces threatened the U.S. if it harms Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. And while the war of words continues, many Iranians are still hoping the U.S. military will come to their aid. Those developments coming as President Trump launched his Board of Peace in Davos, Switzerland on Thursday.
Together we are in a position to have an incredible chance. I don't even call it a chance. I think it's going to happen. To end decades of suffering, stop generations of hatred and bloodshed, and forge a beautiful, everlasting, and glorious peace.
One conflict the Board of Peace could address is the Syrian army's attack against northeast Syria, which has been the home of a democratic, independent region for more than 10 years.
Thousands of people being displaced and numbers of people being kidnapped and being arrested by them, and some of them being beheaded and others being killed.
Pastor Majid Kordi told CBN News the Christians in this region are calling for prayer. CBN News has reported in the past about some of these churches, like this one in Kobani, Syria.
They are calling for help, and they are calling the churches around the world to pray for them so that the Lord may interfere the situation and stop what is going on at the moment, because there is no doubt that there will be another genocide.
And Chris is here now with more. Chris, what are people anticipating in the region concerning a U.S.-led attack on Iran?
Well, first up from the Iranian protesters, they're hoping for a strike any day. They've been waiting actually for several weeks. Something that would hit the apparatus that's trying to crush the protests, anything that would push the regime to fall. Here in Israel, people are anticipating a possible retaliation from Iran if the U.S. attacks. Ballistic missiles, drones, UAVs. Now, Israel has successfully intercepted most projectiles in two major Iranian attacks in the last year and a half. In the region as well, nations like Qatar and Turkey, they've been reportedly advising against the U.S. attack and how it could affect the region. We'll see. And Reza Pahlavi, the exiled crown prince, obviously anticipating a fall of the regime and his return. All happening here in the Middle East, and why it's so important to be praying, Ephraim, for what's going to happen in Iran.
Could Israel help in this strike, or could it do anything to assist in undermining Iran?
It could participate in a U.S. strike. They have before. They did in the war last year, June 2025. And there could be a variety of ways that Israel could help. Operatives inside Syria, the Mossad, we know they were there in June, and we expect that they would be there as well. Cyber attacks. So there could be a joint U.S.-Israel attack against the regime to help make it fall. But certainly Israel has a huge vested interest in seeing the fall of this regime. Many people have been anticipating this and hoping and praying for this as well.
I want to turn now to northeast Syria. Can you explain more about the situation?
Ephraim, I think it's helpful to have a little bit of the history. In 2011, the Arab Spring was sweeping through Arab countries here in the region, including Syria. In order to save his regime, then Syrian President Bashar Assad pulled out of northeast Syria. It left a vacuum, and it was filled by Kurds, Arab, Yazidis, Christians, and other groups. What they did is they formed an autonomous region with democratic principles. Also, when ISIS arose several years later, they fought side by side with the U.S. and defeated ISIS at the cost of thousands of lives. And so when the Assad regime fell in December 2024, al-Jilani, he's a former al-Qaeda commander, he took over, backed by Turkey. Now, they originally had an agreement with the SDF, that was the force from northeast Syria. And but 2 weeks ago, the Syrian army, consisting many jihadists, they attacked northeast Syria. And as we heard from the pastor there, Majid Khoidi, reports of massacres like what happened in the Alawites, what happened with the Druze inside Syria. So this time the Kurds had hoped the U.S. would back them, but they feel like the U.S. is allowing the al-Jilani regime to attack and leading to the fall, the possible fall of what had really been a bright spot here in the region, a democratic, autonomous region that really represented all these ethnic minorities. And sadly, we may be seeing the fall of it almost any day. So that's why the pastor there was asking for prayer from people all over the world to prevent a genocide and massacres.
Sunday, we will recognize Solidarity Sunday. Tell us what that's all about.
Well, it's an effort by Eagles Wings and Bishop Robert Stearns. They're calling on churches around the world to participate, what they call Solidarity Sunday. And during a rise of unprecedented global anti-Semitism, they want the Jewish people to know the church can be a safe place. And they want people to welcome their Jewish neighbors into the local churches, tell them you can feel safe in our home. We want you to feel safe in the city. And they want to sort of have what Naomi said to Ruth, your people shall be my people, your God, my God, and that there's a Gentile church, a Ruth church, saying to the people of Israel those exact words.
All right, before we let you go, let us know what's ahead on Jerusalem Dateline today.
Well, we have an interview with Pastor Robbie Dawkins. He's been in touch with the underground church in Iran. He's telling us about amazing miracles there and how we can pray for the church there. And just remarkable signs and wonders, and how the church, how believers are participating in these protests. And we have parts of that interview with the Kurdish pastor that we heard about. Also, a movie about the Temple Mount. It's called The Mountain of the Lord. And we also have an interview with Dr. Jerry Pattengale. He's talking about Gabi Barkai, a legendary archaeologist here in Israel who sadly passed away a couple of weeks ago, and his impact on archaeology here in the Holy Land.
All right, our CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief, Chris Mitchell, thank you so much for your insights. I want to remind you at home that you can always get the latest from Jerusalem Dateline. You can find it at 8 p.m. Eastern today on the CBN News Channel. You can also find it on the CBN News app, and it's available on YouTube as well. Millions of Americans are bracing for a massive winter storm from the south to the northeast. More than half of the country is facing what could be the most crippling storm in years. The system could bring dangerous ice and heavy snow to millions. CBN's Washington correspondent Jenna Browder has our coverage.
From New Mexico all the way to Maine, the salt trucks are out and the snowplows are ready, as the massive winter storm has up to 230 million Americans bracing for snow, ice, and extreme cold. The giant system, stretching 2,000 miles, is expected to bring crippling ice to the south, where there could be widespread power outages.
In the dark purple area here, that's the severe icing area. That's where we're going to be talking about enough freezing rain to result in the risk for widespread power outages, because it weighs down trees and power lines. And that's when you could get very serious, long-lasting power outages.
At least 9 states have already declared a state of emergency, including Texas and North Carolina, where forecasters are warning this could be one of the most historic ice storms in modern history. In Virginia, Governor Abigail Spanberger is urging people to do their shopping now and to stay off the roads Saturday night through Monday morning.
This will allow not only for the safety and security of our neighbors, but it will allow for faster clearing of roads and ensure greater safety during what we expect will be the most dangerous times on the roads.
Here in the nation's capital and up the East Coast, forecasters are looking for up to a foot of snow, potentially paralyzing travel. Delta Airlines has already canceled flights in at least 5 states, with other airlines also waiving changing fees. The storm ramps up today in New Mexico and Texas before moving east and making its way up the East Coast, stretching all the way to Maine by Sunday. Temperatures will be brutally cold in many areas, too. It could feel like 35 below in Chicago this weekend. And this cold punch coming after the storm means it could take a while for America to thaw out. And because of the power outages, many could be without heat. Jenna Browder, CBN News.
A year ago, wildfires in Los Angeles destroyed many structures, including churches. Ahead, we are talking to 2 leaders for an update on their church's rebuilding. Stay with us. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. A year ago this month, fires in Southern California destroyed thousands of structures, including many churches. Among them, Calvary Church of the Pacific Palisades and Lifeline Fellowship Christian Center in Altadena. CBN News' Charlene Aaron sat down with the leaders of those congregations for an update on the rebuilding process.
Welcome back to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we want to first of all get right into you guys, taking us back to that time last year. How were your churches and communities affected by the fires? Bishop Dorsey, we'll start with you.
Well, thank you for having us again. It was complete devastation, worst experience that I've ever experienced. Changed the dynamics of our community, changed the dynamics of our church. Really heart-wrenching.
Pastor Anderson?
Yeah, I mean, we had about 200 of our families lose their homes. Probably 90% of our community has been displaced, and maybe 20% of those have come back at this point. Our sanctuary was burned, and so we're several years away from that. But in many ways, God preserved us. The rest of our campus was untouched, and there was no lost lives. So much to mourn and much to be thankful for.
Wow, wow. Well, Pastor Dorsey, I understand that although you have been the leader of your church for 22 years, seeing the devastation of your church and community up close and personal really left you at an all-time low that you never imagined. Can you talk briefly about that?
Yes, I'm originally from the Pasadena, Altadena area, and the church that burned to the complete ground was the church that my mother brought us to as children, me and my 3 sisters. So there's a deep connection to the church, to the community. We began our church on the campus of Azusa Pacific University, and my pastor asked if I would consider bringing our congregation over, which was complete joy, almost a dream come true. So it's been everything to our family in reference to community. It's where also my 4 children found the Lord, were baptized, taught Sunday school. So deep connections to everything that God allowed us to do at that particular location.
Wow, I just cannot even imagine. My husband and I are in ministry. We have a church, so I cannot imagine what you went through. How, Pastor Anderson, was your faith affected by everything that happened?
I mean, honestly, if anything, it was strengthened to see the way God protected us in the midst of pain and suffering, but more importantly, how he showed up in the midst of it. And to see people who, our situation is very different than the Altadena situation. And many of our folks have never faced hardship at this level before, or much hardship at all in some cases. And this forced them to reckon with what they believe about God. And it has been encouraging actually to see them wrestle with some of these big ideas for the first time and come out on the other side strengthened.
Wow. I know that you've mentioned that, a lot of people in your church were displaced, Pastor Anderson. I'm curious, on Bishop Dorsey, how have members of your congregation been impacted by the fires?
Well, we had, let's see, 15 people of our church community lose their homes, and we had about 45 displaced. And half of those were 65 years and up. So it has affected us 100% in reference to some of the people haven't came back yet. We fortunately have not missed a worship service. We've been fortunate to continue to meet and gather and minister, and even been able to restore our food bank services to the community again. So God's been gracious.
An exclusive first look at a new romantic family drama series. It's called It's Not Like That. Stay with us. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. We got a first look for you at a series called It's Not Like That. The main character is a pastor and father who's lost his wife, and a parishioner and a family friend whose husband has left her alone with the children.
You don't need to walk us in. Mom never did. Love you, Dad.
Okay. All right, well, you guys have a great day, okay?
Where did this story come from? Where was it born?
There's just so much to mine here, emotionally, dramatically, comedically, and that's really the sweet spot that we love to live in.
What will we see unfold, without giving too much away, over the course of this season?
I think over the course of this first season of It's Not Like That, you're going to see two families really learn to lean on each other to survive their various situations, the grief that they're in ways that are both dramatic and funny.
I lost my wife, and now I'm overloaded on widower sympathy.
I get it. The moms at school just want to gossip about me and rescue you.
You play a couple divorcing in this series. Tell me about your character, who she is.
Yes, I played Lori Soto, dealing with a recent divorce where she was left. It's loss, it's change, it's like all of it. And so we find her at the beginning, her and Malcolm, Scott Foley's character, like leaning heavily on each other to kind of maintain normalcy for the kids, for their families, for each other.
Try not to lead with preacher, please.
That is my friend Malcolm.
Yeah. My wife's dead.
David is a music manager, a successful one. He is a devoted father of two. He is a man who is dealing with his inner demon, so to speak. He's someone who was not happy for a while and decided to leave this beautiful woman at a very bad time. You just kind of see a story of a man trying to figure life out, trying to figure out what he's searching for, trying to be a good dad. Yeah, it's a beautiful, heartfelt story that is just really extremely relatable, and we're super proud for everyone to see it.
What was it about this story that made this a project you wanted to be a part of?
The writing. The moment I read it and the moment I realized, when you see writing, for me at least, and you see a line and you think of that line and you see the complexities under that line.
I think it felt like a show that really needed to be made. We're in tricky times.
I promised Jenny I'd look after her kids.
Too much of your life revolves around that man.
We've been getting closer.
Tell me about the dynamic, because everyone in the show are people of faith, because one of the central places in it is a church and there's a pastor in it. Tell me about weaving that thread throughout, and what's that been like?
It's a family show that just integrates that in a very realistic way. And I appreciated that. It's not preaching anything. It's just people who live their lives with faith and realistic stories about them.
JR, what elements of you are in your character?
Great question. Faith is something really important to me. And something that's really helped me kind of get through really hard times. And I really don't think, in my opinion, that David would have been able to make it out of some of these dark moments if he didn't have, you know, his understanding of, you know, what he believes in and his faith underneath all that.
Hey! But it's so fragile.
Focus on your own family. Sometimes you get this feeling. You can't let that moment pass you by.
It's Not Like That premieres with the first 2 episodes this Sunday. That's January 25th on Wonder Project subscription on the Prime Video platform in the United States, with episodes debuting weekly on Sundays thereafter. Stay with us. You are watching CBN NewsWatch. Your Friday Faithful is coming up next. Time now for your Friday Faithful. Today I want to leave you with this thought to ponder. You don't need to feel like it to do it. You need to do it to feel like it. Remember, discipline delivers results. More than motivation, more than inspiration. Your body, your goals, your dreams all will respond to your discipline. Doing it even when you don't feel like it. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel at any time. You can also find them online. That's cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. And, of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Instagram, and X. We hope you make this a fabulous Friday and have yourself a wonderful weekend on purpose. We'll see you back here come Monday. Goodbye and God bless.